I think we're ready for our second presenter, Burrell Street, right? Are you guys all set? I know that you guys have been here a couple months back, and so looking forward to this presentation. All right, so we'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Marcos. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jay Barry. I am the attorney representing the Peasant Ferry family, who are the owners of the particular property here. My office is located at 1156 Dorchester Ave, as listed on the presentation. With me tonight is William Christopher, the architect of record on this particular project. He's put together the schematics that we're going to be presenting tonight. Just want to make this very clear from the beginning. We have not filed any plans. This is really just that we wanted to present the schematic to everyone and get a sense of what was the feeling from DSNI on what is being presented. We did have an early preliminary discussion back in April, and we were asked and we promised that we would bring back what was going to be somewhat the proposal. That's what we're prepared to do tonight. If we can have a chance to just run through what the proposal is and highlight the site. We have some pictures to acquaint everybody exactly with it, and some particular questions or ideas that we're looking for some feedback from the group regarding. So as previously mentioned, the Peasant Ferry family has owned these properties for a long time. They've been in the particular neighborhood for over 50 years. They currently own lots 84, 86, 88, 90, 96R, 96 to 98, and 100 to 102 Burrell Street. The city of Boston currently owns 3 lots that are in the middle of this string of properties. If it was feasible for them to acquire those 3 lots from the city, that is what is their hope, is to combine all of the lots and do something regarding what's being presented tonight. Essentially what I just discussed is what's on the slide here. We're just trying to show everybody what the early schematics are. That includes what could be a potential development here, discuss these schematic plans, go over what is the potential unit count at this point and the potential building height and or parking. So this is just to get everyone acquainted with.
The people down, they'll show you later.
This is one of the particular lots on the corner of Burrell Street and Norfolk Ave. This is another picture that's showing
Looking
the.
down Norfolk Ave. Go ahead, I'm sorry. You do that.
This is going down Norfolk Ave towards Burrell Street. This is Norfolk Ave towards Shirley Street. This is Burrell Street towards Clifton Street. Burrell Street towards Norfolk again. And this, I think, really kind of highlights what we're discussing here tonight. So these are the 3 city lots that are in the middle of what is currently owned by this family. This is just a breakdown of what lots have what size. Clearly, the majority of the lots that are owned by the family have the largest amount of square footage. And essentially what I just discussed is this. So what's presented here, and William Christopher is going to run over somewhat of the schematic, but there's 2 options here that we'd like to discuss. One is the 4-story residential building with no parking, and the second option would be a 5-story residential building with 33 off-street parking spaces at grade underneath the residential units. Right now, what's being proposed with this schematic is 43 residential units. At our initial meeting in April, there was some discussion about the need to have the size of units that would bring families in, but also be a mix. The way that William in his office has laid out these particular units, there's right now 9 1-bedrooms that would be between 673 square feet and 861 square feet. There'd be 26 2-bedroom units that would be between 839 square feet and 1175 square feet. And there would be 8 3-bedroom units that would be between 1,018 square feet and 1,557 square feet. I'm going to turn this over to William Christopher just to kind of discuss what his office has laid out and more of the architectural schematics.
Okay, thank you, JD. The first thing to realize is this property does fall within the area of a transit-oriented development. You know, the Pastori family is been longtime members of the community, and they want to make sure that anything that they do, you know, will meet the quality and understanding of what's going on. The option A to the top left there is a simple 4-story building. We're addressing the corner on Burrell and Norfolk Street, so that'll be the primary entrance. And then we're trying to minimize the mass of the building by undulating the front, well, all the elevations, as well as sculpting the roof so that it's not, you know, the typical flat slat roof. Materials that we're, you know, exploring to look at right now are, you know, combinations of masonry and some sort of a hardy plank example. Option B, the one down to the lower right, includes a parking deck. We essentially took our building and sat it on the parking structure. There are 33 spaces there. We'll go through the plans in a little bit, but there are 33 spaces, as well as bike storage and ample storage and trash storage in the building. These are two opposite views, just so you get a sense and feeling about the building. We're really trying to maximize the penetration so that the scale of this building does not become, you know, the flat, continuous wall that we see so many buildings, and it's won't be a glass building. This is a typical layout. The basic organization is in the lower right-hand corner is the entry point, the lobby point there, where the main elevator will be located. In behind there in yellow is community space. So that'll be open to the residents of the building. The rest of the building is organized very simply as a double-loaded corridor with units on both sides. This will give us ample opportunity for personal decks for everybody. We're trying to respect the property line. The closest we are to it is on the left-hand side here. We're, I believe, 8 feet off the property line. In the rear here, by stepping the building the way that we have, we're trying to maximize just open space that will be communally controlled. And we're doing the same thing to the front of the building so that we're always conscious about creating identity for houses. So, you know, there's nothing as nice as pointing and saying, that's my house, that's where I live. And sometimes some of these buildings get so massive that you get lost in the mirage of it. This is the layout of the parking as we go along the street. The entrance to the parking is in the middle of the building, off Burrell Street, so there's no access coming off of Norfolk Street at all. You can see the general parking layout there. Next to the elevator lobby would be the trash room, which would also have direct access out to Burrell Street, as well as you know, personal entrance from the lobby so people can drop off their trash. The maneuverability works very well, and there's ample bike storage because I know the BRA is really pushing that, and we're trying to follow suit with them. As we go through the building, you can see the organization is, you know, is pretty similar as we go up floor to floor. Again, this is not to be understood as a final presentation. This is exactly what we want to build. This is being presented to the community so that we can solicit ideas, concepts, things that are important to the neighborhoods, because we feel that all too often that gets forgotten. And we want to make sure that we start off this way. I wish more of my clients were like this family, that they feel the neighborhood involvement is very important as we go through this process. So we're coming to you first. Our next stop, you know, depending upon your opinions this evening, we are going to meet with Sheila Dillon to talk about the deposition, the buying of those 3 lots and incorporating them into the project. We think it creates a nice continuous corner, and it presents very well onto Norfolk as, you know, a substantial new building, and then on Burrell Street it carries through with the residential character. And these are the upper floors. This is option B, the first floor, and these are the proposed upper levels, which, you know, quite literally, pretty much the same as the first floor plan, so that we can economize in construction costs and still provide very good units. We open it up to the floor for questions, comments.
Great, thank you for the presentation. So I guess you know, before you know, we open it up for other folks here, I'm curious as to maybe I missed it or what have you. Is your idea to have these be rental or home ownership?
Well, as everybody in the business today, we at this point, until we finalize what the building is going to be, we don't know what the you know, the end result of the economics will be. I mean, interest just went up, building materials are ridiculous, so we're going to hold back on saying what we would recommend until we get a little further down the road in this whole project.
Okay, and thank you. So I know that you spoke to setbacks and what have you. Can you speak to green space? When I saw the floor plan.
Yeah, please go to the parking level.
I could have one moment, everybody. I just want to make sure that we can see the screen and
All right.
walk in as well.
You can see that the dark outer line of the top and to the left-hand side of the limits of the property lines. Our closest proximity to the property line is on that left-hand side where the pointer is right now. In front of the building, there'll be smaller pockets of green space as we go along. The rear of the building, you can see as the building steps back, at some points it's 30 feet back, some points it's 20 feet back. So we're trying to give as much public open space as possible, as well as providing private public space in the form of decks.
Great, thank you.
Question?
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
don't
Bob.
know that I heard how many bedrooms are in your units. Did I hear that?
Well, yeah, we did present that we have 9 1-bedrooms. We have 26 2-bedrooms, so that's 52. And then in the we have 8 3-bedroom units. So it'll be a total of overall 44 units. And who's better at math than me?
166 bedrooms.
Thank
No,
you.
sorry.
That's bad math. I apologize.
That's
Sorry.
952.
87. 87.
Yeah, 87. I like the order.
Sorry, I put 9 in the wrong category.
Can you go back to that slide that had the unit mix?
Sure.
There you go. Okay. Great. Okay. Rene or Minnie, I don't know if there's folks that are raising their hand and have other questions. I can't see from here.
No raised hands yet. I will ask a similar question to I asked the previous developer in terms of affordability. This definitely will trigger that at the number of units that have been proposed. So
Yeah, obviously we're going to respect the 13%, but in our discussions with Department of Neighborhood Development.
okay, so you're going to stick at the 13%, right?
Oh, 13% is a given.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, it sounded like, could we hear the rest of the comment? Because of course you have to meet the 13, but sounded like you were starting to say something. Was there more?
Well, it's just that as we develop the project and we get more into the discussions with the city, especially in terms of, you know, the three lots that are in the middle of our run there, we've got to have that discussion with Sheila, and she hasn't weighed in on that as yet. So she'll, you know, she'll have comments.
Thank you. And Chris's hand is up, Marcos.
Okay, Chris,
Thanks. Not that I could ever speak for Sheila Dillon, but just to be clear, I'm Christine O'Keefe. I'm from the Mayor's Office of Housing. I'm the Associate Director working with Sheila Dillon. But just to highlight, when there is city-owned parcels and we need to do a disposition of those parcels, we do those in partnership with the community. So we would need to do our own community process. I mean, doing this legwork, having these conversations certainly helps further conversations for when we do go out. So appreciate that. But we usually work closely with DSNI about when, you know, we feel it's a good time to put out the parcels to start a community process. Then we would need to do a request for proposal, which is a fair and open process. It's allowed for anyone to respond to. And at that point, you know, working with DSNI, hearing the community, that's usually where we start setting our affordability levels on there as well.
And
So that's,
full disclosure, we've had conversation with Sheila, and she did not.
I was there.
Pardon me?
I was there.
Yes,
Okay. So she was very clear that she wanted us to walk through the DSNI community before we come in and sit down with her. So that's kind of where the point that we think we're at right now. But we really wanted to have this conversation so that we could, you know, get any more input or concerns from the community before we go into the final design.
and just to make sure that there's nothing misinterpreted from this, we did not want to represent that we're just going to go to DND. We completely understand that there's a fair process, the RFP process occurs. We just wanted to make sure that everybody on the group understood where we were at, what the schematic represents. If those 3 lots were to be gained, this is ultimately what we would like to propose. But in no way has there been any discussion that those lots are going to be received.
No,
Yeah, I just want to agree with you on that. I was part of the conversation with Chief Dillon, and absolutely what you just said. It's, you know, let's go through a community process. Let's try and understand what the community says, and then you'll follow the city's process on requests for proposals and stuff like that. So you're absolutely correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's very useful sort of information. So, I mean, playing sort of devil's advocate in the worst case scenario for you guys that those parcels were not, you know, sort of ultimately awarded to you. Would your ideas simply sort of follow the same line of thinking just on your own parcels, or
We would look to develop the parcels. Obviously, there's an economy of one parcel because you have a single elevator and you know, 2 sets of stairs. If we separated this into 2 buildings, the cost of all of those elements would go up. It would probably reduce our ability to have as much open space, you know, as we can provide with this, because we don't have a lot of those redundant support systems throughout the building. So the answer is yes, we would probably come back to you with 2, you know, 2 sites for development.
got it. Thank you. Thank you.
We prefer to do the 1 building, though, obviously.
Okay. Well, I don't know if there's any other hands raised or any other questions at the moment. If
I have
not-
one question I can ask Christine. Christine, would you prefer that, you know, should we go through you as the conduit to set this meeting up at neighborhood service, D&D, or would you know, I can just go through my usual relationship with Sheila? Chief Dillon, sorry.
It's okay. I call her Sheila all the time. I'm happy to set it up. You just let me know when you're ready. She has a new assistant, and I'm happy to help with trying to schedule a meeting.
Great, we're gonna take you up on that. Thank you, Christine.
Okay, just let me know when you're ready.
Thanks, Christine.
Okay, well, seeing or not seeing that there's any more questions, thank you guys for coming back, sharing a bit more, of your idea. But we're gonna then close this presentation and say goodbye to you guys, and we're gonna shortly start the resident only conversation about presentations and other items that are on the agenda.
The other thing I just want to put on the table, please, if somebody, is uncomfortable asking questions in public or making a comment, please feel free to reach out to our office, and we'll gladly, talk to anybody who has questions or concerns.
And on behalf of the whole team, Minnie, I want to thank you for coordinating and setting this up for us. And I want to thank everybody for their time tonight. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
All.
One final question. Have you guys shared this slide deck with Renee, or are you willing to share it with Renee?
I believe that Minnie coordinated that as we were corresponding about setting up the meeting tonight, but Minnie, I don't want to misspeak if that's not correct.
No, that's right. I have it, so we'll make sure it gets circulated. We typically send a newsletter after these meetings, and we'll include the presentations and the files in those. So you're all set. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, guys. Have a good night.
Good night.